So I wanted to share, as my very first video, a haul that I got from Temu or Temu. I'm just going to call it Temu, whether that's correct or correctly pronounced or not, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it just to keep consistent. So I took everything out of the bag. It's a pretty small haul, but I wanted to cut down on the amount of noise that the paper would be making. So I was going to show you a few items, tell you what I paid for them, why I got them, and just explain whether or not I think they were worth the purchase. So I will get started with these and show you what it was that I got. So the first thing I got was watercolor. It's 50 pieces of watercolor paper. I've gotten into crafting recently, set up a room in my home, and have been doing a lot of things like card making, and then also wanting to do more on sublimation and ironing and using some of the Cricut products I have, like my Cricut and heat press and those things. So these cards, it was $5.48 for 50 pieces. And they measure about 4 by 4. So there's a little bit of texture to them. And they feel like they're good quality. I've never used watercolor paper before. But part of the reason I wanted to try this was to be able to put color on the paper. I saw someone else do this. I have inks that I've been using, but you can actually take a little water and turn what is normally a stamping ink into a watercolor. And then a couple of other things that I had purchased from Temu recently, or prior to this order, I had gotten a couple of watercolor pan sets with different colors. So this one was Watercolor Confections, Pastel Dreams, and the other one was the Classics. So it's this nice little tray that you have, and then you have where you can basically do an ink test so you know what the colors look like on paper. And they have these little blocks of color that you can take and use for watercolor. So I'm not an artist per se, but I thought it would be kind of neat to use that to get colors on the paper and then be able to cut things out of this and use that on the cards that I like to make. So that was the first thing that I got on this order. So the second thing I purchased was, it's a to-do notebook, and I got this for $5.09. And it measures 8 by 5.5. It's this pretty blush color, and it's got the slick outside to it. So I think if you spilled something on it, it would wipe right off. And the reason I wanted to try this, I love notebooks, and I tend to, anytime I see one on sale, if I am in Michael's or Target Dollar Spot or any of the, the usual stores that I would go to. So I have a collection of notebooks, but also at work and at home, I tend to have a lot of Post-it notes here and there, scraps of paper with things I need to do, or grocery list. So I wanted to buy something that I could have to just basically carry around with me to be a little more organized. It has As You Wish on the inside. You could put your name, address if you wanted to. And then the entire notebook, there's really no paper wasted, as the whole thing, no extra pages, is just a to-do list. So as the date, the time, to do, it has nice little progress check boxes. I like to check boxes as I finish things, and then it has a thing for notes and my priorities. And it's really lightweight, the cover's thin, the paper is good quality, and it will fit in my purse. So that's the other thing I liked about it, that I can just take it with me wherever I go. If I'm in the car and waiting for an appointment and I'm thinking of something that I need to write down, it's just to try to be more consistent of putting everything just in one place to refer to. So that was the second thing I got. The third thing was blender brushes. And again, as I've been getting into crafting lately and doing cards, I have found out about this thing called blender brushes. And again, where you can use those with different inks for cards and just kind of colored the cards if you're using white cardstock. So this was a set of 10 and I got them for $9.44. I have a couple of sets I've already purchased. One of them was a larger set and I really like it. It was a little more expensive. The other set, I think I actually got on Amazon, and you'll see I've used it, but they look very similar. This one is actually, I think, a little bit, maybe a tiny bit smaller. No, I think it's the same size as the one on Amazon. I think it's the exact same thing. I didn't actually look up the price on Amazon to see if it, but I would say if they aren't the same price, this one might have been a little cheaper. But you get all these different colors. They're really soft. They work well. They've got this little ridge in the middle, just like a toothbrush has basically. But I just, as I've started to do more of the thing with the inks, with the cards, I'm figuring out that you just cannot have enough of these blender brushes to do different things with the cards and different colors. And as I start to collect more colors of inks, I just like to have different brushes to be able to use, so I'm not constantly using the same brush for 3 or 4 different colors. So I thought those were a pretty good buy. So the next thing I bought, which I made a mistake, is heat sublimation for car coasters. So there's 100 pieces in this. And where I made the mistake, clearly on a late night order, is I didn't order the actual coasters. So I went back onto Temu to look after I got the order, and I didn't really like what they were offering for coasters. So I'm actually going to order the coasters off of Amazon. But they come with 50 of these envelopes, and then I think it's 50, and then 50 of these little cards. And then each of the cards would go in an envelope, which then you would peel this off and it seals, but you would do the sublimation on your ceramic coasters and then put 2 in a package, and you could give those as gifts, or I mean you could sell them if that's what you do as well. But I just thought those would be a neat idea and something to try for birthday presents or Christmas gifts, that type of thing, and kind of a neat way and fairly inexpensive to get into starting to do sublimation. And I did not write the price down on these, but I don't think they were that much. So the next thing I got were cutting mats. And I have a spellbinders, and I've been doing a lot of die cutting and embossing. Oh, I already opened this one with the card making, and I wanted to find some inexpensive plates that I could get replacements. So I looked at these, and these are my spellbinders plates, and you can see they're getting pretty chewed up. And then what happens, which I did not realize this, when you get so much cutting on these and then you run a card through, some of this imprinting ends up on the card that you don't want. So I was looking for something maybe a little inexpensive in case I have to buy these more frequently than I wanted to. So they're the same width. They're a little bit shorter, which that doesn't bother me at all. They'll still work with my machine. So I bought, it's a 2-piece set, because clearly you need a top and a bottom in order to cut. And I got 2 sets from one company and 2 sets from another. And one company charged $8.80 or $8.29, and the other charged $9.98. So the size on these is almost 9 inches. It's a little over 8 3/4 by 6 inches wide, or 6.1. And then I can't remember if I said how large that notebook was that I had shown you, but that's actually, that was 8 by 5.5. So again, perfect size for a purse. So I'll set those aside. Then the next thing I got, again, wanting to do more with the heat press I bought and some of the Cricut items was it's a sublimation set for bookmarks. So you get 10 bookmarks. Now the larger ones are about 5.6 by, I guess the website says 1.14, and the smaller ones are 3.7 by 1.14. So you get 10 of each of those, and then you get these tassels. So there's a protective coating on the back that or protective film that you would peel off before you put the sublimation and the heat onto it. But I thought it was kind of a neat set because, especially for the little ones, I thought that would be a cool idea for kids that have books, easier for them to manage. I have nieces and nephews. There's little ones that I just thought this would kind of be a really cool gift when giving them books for birthdays and holidays, and give this to them with the book and make it personalized. The tassels, I'm not a huge fan of these, only because I saw someone else's video where they took embroidery thread and made their own tassels, and they just looked nicer. I think I would still use these, but the thing about embroidery thread, and I know this because my mother does a lot of work with embroidery thread, is it's not that expensive, and you can get a ton of thread in different colors for not a lot of money. So I think what I will do when I start to decide to make these is I'm going to get embroidery thread and make my own tassels. I just think I would like it better. So this set cost $6.39, which I didn't think was a bad deal. And then the last thing I got on this order was a 12-piece set for sublimation. So they come with 6 of these little, you could call them makeup bags or whatever, and the measurements on these is 4.8 by 8.4, and then the bags, those are 12.4 by 14.4. So there's 6 of each, and I did pay what I thought was a little more money for these, $18.48, but now that I have them, they're not super thick, they're soft. I like the color. It's kind of like a white off-white. It's not what is sometimes what I think is that ugly canvas color. So I think these would make great gifts that I could do something on here for my sisters or my sisters-in-law, my nieces. You could do something for yourself for travel. Like I like to wear different bracelets and necklaces or rings. So I could put those in here for travel, makeup, whatever. So I'm pretty excited about trying to do those. And then as far as the bags, what made me think of this is my mom is in her 80s, and trying to carry stuff around is not that easy. So she has a bag that she takes to church every week, and I think it's a little too big for her. So I will find something and make a design and personalize it to her. You know, and because it's from me, I know it'll mean something to her, to try to give her a smaller bag for church that would fit her Bible. If she wants to take her wallet, she could take a snack, a little bottle of water, but and trying to make her a couple different ones so she could have one specifically for church, and then she could have another one for when she goes to doctor's appointments or the stores or whatever. She can put her little notebook in there. And then the state she lives in, I don't even know if you can get bags at the store, even if you paid for them, like plastic or paper. So you really need to have the recycled or the reusable bags on hand when you go to the store. So I think these would just be a nice gift for her. And again, you could do different things. Like I think for church, I'm going to put a cross on here and maybe do her initials or something. But I think it's just something she would really enjoy receiving from me. So those are the things I got with this order. I was actually pretty impressed with the quality. The things I'm receiving are on par with things I buy at Amazon, Walmart, Target, and I do have another couple of orders that I did. They're a little bit larger, so the plan would be to do a video of those items as well. But again, if you want to make a comment or you're curious about anything, I can try to go back to Temu and refer you back or cite the specific store or link I got this from. And the other thing I had learned about Temu, when you place an order, you can go back in there and click on a price adjustment selection for your order. And if the prices have changed, they will actually instantly refund the money back to you. So while it may only be a penny or 2 cents or 5 cents, sometimes 20 cents, it adds up quickly. I've done it with just like 3 or 4 orders, and it very quickly will add up to $5, $8. And if you're not paying a lot for the things to begin with, that could make a huge difference as far as getting that discounted off your next order to allow you to buy another $5 item should you choose to, or not, and just save a little money. So thank you for watching, and I'd appreciate it if you would take the time to comment, and I look forward to doing more of these videos. See you soon.